同学们，大家晚上好，欢迎来到我们今天的海外院校语音分享会活动。然后我们现在活动就要开始，在我们今天的直播里呢，我们有幸请到了 Binghamton University 美国宾汉姆顿大学，以及 Singapore University of Social Sciences 新加坡新月社科大学，还有 Portland State University 美国波特兰州立大学，以及 Arizona State University 美国亚利桑那州立大学。在今天我们到来的这4所学校的招生官老师呢，会为我们带来今天这场干货满满的分享会活动。然后在今天的直播当中的同学们不仅可以了解到每所大学不同优秀的专业和项目，也可以了解到海外学习生活和工作的真实面貌。接下来我们将依次邀请各个大学的招生官老师们逐一上台，每所大学会有15分钟的时间来进行分享。我们也会在活动中间呢，向我们的大学招生官提出一些我们收集到的大家最感兴趣的问题。这些问题呢，也主要包括了国外的学习、工作和生活这3个方面。当然，我们同时也非常欢迎我们同学们向这些经验丰富的招生官老师提出属于你们自己的问题。好了，那么接下来我们话不多说，让我们有请到今天的第1所学校的招生官老师上场，他是来自 Binghamton University 的 Monica 老师。Let's welcome Monica. Hi, Monica.
Hello， 大家好。
您可以直接开始了。
好的，好，感谢。首先自我介绍一下，我是宾汉姆顿大学招生代表刘畅。宾汉姆顿大学呢是属于纽约州立大学系统。纽约州立大学系统是美国最大的州立大学系统，有64所院校，而我们学校呢是排名第1的，所以我们是排名第1的纽约公立大学，也有常青藤公立常青藤的大学之称。好，下一张，谢谢。在2021年，我们最新的 US News and World Report 2021年的这个排名当中呢，我们是总排名第83名。然后呢，我们是一直在全美排名前50位的公立大学之一。在2021年呢，我们是从40多名现在已经跳到了33名。所以我们的排名是在上升的，而且我们也是全美10所最佳投资回报比的公立大学之一，也就是意味着你的投入和产出是最棒的。左下角呢，绿色的这一个图片就是纽约州，然后大写的 B 字就是宾汉姆顿大学所在的地理位置，它距离纽约市还有我们的纽约市呢，大概有3个小时的这个车程，离我们的华盛顿也有3个小时的车程，然后离我们的波士顿呢，还有多伦多呀等等呢，有5个小时的车程，所以它的地理位置是非常好的。不仅仅呢，它距离大城市比较稍微有一点距离，所以它安全非常的友好，物价合理。而且呢，距离大城市不远不近。你可以非常容易的去大城市去旅游，而且呢可以去找工作找实习，这些大城市的好公司也可以很方便的到我们大学来去进行校招的活动。我们学校的录取概况呢是一个中等规模的一个大学，有14000多名的本科生，会收到了42000多份的申请书。我们的国际学生非常的多，有18000多名。中国呢是属于前5大生源国之一。我们的学校呢是采取综合评判所有申请材料的这样的一个指标，所以呢，我们不会以1分定胜负。大家可以看到，我们的录取的新生里面，他的成绩是一个参考值，比如说85的平均分，6.3的雅思平均分，我们的 GPA 呢是50%的学生在93到98。这是非常非常棒的，说明我们的同学呢是非常非常的厉害的。当然，如果你的成绩比这个稍微低一点，也是很有机会来进入我们的大学的。在申请2022年秋季入学的同学来说呢，有一个很好的消息，就是我们是 SAT、ACT 考试可选，也就是说可以交也可以不交这个成绩，完全在您的选择。我们70%的同学是在4年之内就能毕业的，这在于全美平均值39%来说是非常非常高的。我们呢还非常骄傲的一个数据呢，大家一定要注意一下，是92%的新生大2学年返校率。也就是说，在美国的话，如果他们大一年的这个体验不好，学习不太好， 体验不太好，他们可能就会选择去转校到另外一个大学，或者是退学，或者是有其他的选择。所以呢，92%的返校率说明我们的大学生呢，对于宾汉姆顿大学的各项措施、各项资源都非常的满意所以他们会回来继续就读大二。我们学校呢是处于四季非常分明的美国东北部，冬天呢会下雪，然后呢秋天非常非常的漂亮，大家可以看到我们有很漂亮的这个绿叶，这个五颜六色的这个叶子非常非常的漂亮。好，下一页。好，我们学校的话呢，因为有很长的录取国际学生的历史，所以在国际学生支持方面有非常丰富的经验。比如说，如果你有任何的移民指导，比如说你的签证啊、你的 I-20 啊、你的 OPT、CPT 在美国来工作呀，都可以得到我们的 ISSS 办公室的帮助。我们学校呢是无条件录取，所以我们录取进来的学生，我们都相信你的英语水平是很高的。当然，如果你的英语水平的话，你觉得自己还需要提高，还需要适应，我们有英语语言学院，既提供语言学分的方面的课程，而且呢，你还可以参加我们很多很多的免费的活动，比如说你跟美国的同学配对，作为语言伙伴来进行练习你的英语，或者是说跟美国本土的国家进行联谊等等等等等等的机会。我们的国际学生还有就业服务中心的国际就业顾问，我们还有校园招聘活动。我呢自己本身也是在读的博士生，就是通过校园招聘，然后呢来找到招生处的这个工作的。在这里学习了很多很多的美国工作文化，还有我们的专业的招生知识呢。而且我们非常非常开心，国际学生有很多的这个组织来帮助你适应美国大学的生活。我们学校的安全也是非常棒的。好，下一页。我们有6大学院，管理学院呢是美国第4大最佳价值商学院。我们呢是纽约市安永和普华永道提供最多的招聘员工。哈佛文理学院呢，你可以以未定专业来申请，有1000多门的本科和研究生课程。沃森工程学院呢，既有工程专业，而且还有我们的 Computer Science，计算机科学专业。他们呢都有很强烈的这个行业指导性，有很强烈的注重实践的这样的一个培养。而且呢，我们每一个学院都有自己的职业发展中心，帮助我们的学生来提升你的职业规划和你的职业水平。好，下一页，谢谢。我们学校呢，2019年的教授获得了诺贝尔化学奖。如果呢你想和他进行交流的话，有很多很多的机会。我们有荣誉课程给前1%到3%的同学呢提供这样子的非常厉害的本科就能参加的研究的这样的大一进入式研究项目。而且我们还有很多其他的非常厉害的荣誉项目供给我们非常厉害的同学。当然，如果你进校的时候可以再加入其他的一些荣誉课程，来提升自己今后成功的这样子的一些技能的培训。我们有全球呢有14多万多的校友，而且有2017年获得全美最佳职业发展中心的 Fleischman Career Center，他们帮助全校所有专业的学生去帮助你们写简历呀，进行模拟面试啊，等等等等，帮助你去找好工作，找好实习。下一页，谢谢。我们的学生生活非常丰富多彩，有很多的学生俱乐部和组织，有很多的777万平方米的自然保护区，也就是说我们学校的后院就是一个森林保护公园。我们的大一的新生必须住校，像哈利波特这样子有自己传统的这样子的住宿社区，还有专门的住宿社区的老师还有专门住宿师的老师来帮助你进行这个培养。然后呢，我们还有很好的体育健身措施，还有21个 NCAA 美国体育部门的这个团队，所以非常非常的厉害，大家可以去查一查 NCAA， 非常非常的厉害。下一页。 好，我看到有同学提出来，这个雅思分是有要求是多少呢？大家可以看到，这是最关键的这一个，就是如何申请。我们的雅思呢、托福呢、还有多邻国都接受，包括 SAT 和 ACT。如果你选择要给我们提交这个成绩的话，再强调一下，这是中等50%的一个参考。也就是说，你的雅思在6.5到7.0的话，是属于我们50%的新生的这个范围之内。所以如果你的成绩在这个范围之内的话，是非常非常有竞争力的。如果你的成绩比这个稍微低一点，也不用太担心，我们是全面考核你的成绩，你的所有的申请材料。而且如果你有 IB、AP 或者是 A level 的这样的课程的话，也可以到宾汉姆顿大学来转成我们的宾汉姆顿大学的学分。所以在大一的时候，你刚开始就可以已经转学分到我们这里来，就已经完成了学习一些课程的要求，所以非常非常好。然后我们的预估费用大家可以看到，而且申请宾汉姆顿大学的学生，你只要完成你的申请，你就可以立即进入我们自动考核是否能够得到国际奖学金的这样的一个考核范围，这是非常棒的，你不需要单独去申请国际奖学金。好，我们还有最后1分钟的时间，我们看到有的同学提出来 When is the best time to apply？ 你可以现在就申请的。我们的申请截止日期呢是推荐截止日期是3月15号。那么其实呢，3月15号之后，我们也会按照是否有余位来让大家来申请我们的学校。所以如果呢，你要是觉得你在3月15号之后还想申请的话，跟我们联系是完全是很棒的。我们有很多的中文的这样的一些媒体，我们有 B 站，我们有优酷，我们有很多很多的微信公众号等等，所以呢非常非常的棒。勤工俭学当然可以，我就是通过勤工俭学，然后在招生处找到工作的。好，最后一页，谢谢。这是我们的学术课程，大家可以下载我们的这个PDF 的这个PowerPoint，所以呢，你可以了解我们有非常非常多的这个专业，我们有很多的文科专业，哈佛文理学院有1000多个本科和研究生的项目，还有我们的这个其他的一些专业学院，比如说医学预科等等等等。我们的时间好像到了，所以大家也提了很多问题，那我就请主持人帮我练几个问题，我来回答一下，谢谢。
好，非常感谢 Monica 老师为我们带来精彩分享。其实在后面的过程中 Monica 老师已经在回答我们同学提出的一些问题，那我们就接着来看一看，还有一些同学问到中国学生在我们学校的比例大吗？
中国学生在我们的学校的比例，我个人觉得是刚刚好，因为我们有1800多个国际学生，然后中国是主流，然后大约可能占2%吧。听起来好像很少，但实际上这是很多的，因为我们有14000多个本科生呢。然后呢，这个本科生的比例为什么这么好呢？因为首先你在这里不会孤单，因为你周边有很多的国际学生，很多的中国学生，同时呢，我们还有大部分的是美国学生，那也就是意味着你有充足的时间去有全方位的美国校园的体验，跟美国同学来进行各方面的交流。你到这里来说，既可以讲中文，又可以讲英语，还可以学很多很多不同的这个国际的这个语言，是非常非常棒的。
好，然后还有同学问到，他说他现在还没有想好要读什么专业，如何就是才能让学校帮助我找到一个适合自己的专业呢？
好，如果你要是搜 Binghamton University， 在微信上面中间不要加空格，那你就可以搜到我们的我的微信公众号，包括我们的右下角这个 QR code， 你可以扫一下，我们上面就有专门的一个指导你如何选专业的这个微信文章。而且呢，如果你确实不确定，你可以没有定专业 Undeclared Major 来申请宾汉姆顿大学。也就是说呢，你可以不确定什么专业，到了学校之后，我们在大1大2的时候给你充足的时间去选择自己的专业，而且你不是孤单一人，我们有老师来配合你，然后来指导你，让你在大学的时候找到专业，而且能够帮助你按时毕业，不会因此而耽误你的学习的时间。
好的
，B 站就是哔哩哔哩。
他说 B 站号是什么？可能他想问的是咱们的那个直接是搜宾汉姆顿大学就可以吗？
搜纽约州立宾汉姆顿。
OK，
纽约州立宾汉姆顿大学。你可以搜纽约就是搜宾汉姆顿大学的话，你 B 站有很多，你就有看到有一个频道就是纽约州立宾汉姆顿大学的那个全称，你找到那个就好了。或者你关注我们的公众号， 只要你关注我们的公众号，它自动的第一条消息就会给你 B 站的这个链接。
好的。然后 Monica 老师也回答的非常详细，那我们就来选最后一个问题。我看到有同学说可以来学校勤工俭学嘛，然后我想拓展一下，就是如果说我们学生想去找一些 part-time job， 然后呢学校会帮助我们学生去找到这样合适的工作机会吗？
这个是有的。所有的新生呢，在orientation 的时候，就会有专门的我们的 career center 来告诉你如何利用哪一些网站、哪一些资源来在校内来找到勤工俭学的岗位。我们勤工俭学的岗位有很多，既有一般性的，比如说在我们学校的食堂啊，或者那里去打工，而且也有各个部门办公室给你招一些比如说既有给 pay 的、给 money 的这样的一些工作岗位，也有可以给你算学分的一些工作岗位。比如说我所在的招生处，我就是通过学校内部的招聘网站应聘上的。然后我们有很多的国际学生在招生处工作。而且呢，你如果干得好的话呢，他可以长期的聘用你，比如说1个学年或者2个学年，而且会给你很多很多的培训，比如说很多很多的技能。我们的这个整个团队也是非常非常的友好的，在这里干得非常开心，所以呢，我们常年招很多的这个实习生，中国学生是我们的一大目标。所以呢，大家来了之后可以广拓的拓展自己的这样子的一些工作机会。
好，非常感谢 Monica 老师非常专业和详细的解答。然后因为时间的问题，我们今天可能只能到这里了。如果学生们对我们的宾汉姆顿大学感兴趣的话，也可以看到我们现在 PPT 上面有各种各样的联系方式，大家可以去通过扫码呀、搜索这样来获取更多的资讯。然后同学们也可以下载我们的 PPT， 然后和老师进行更深一步的交流。好，谢谢你 Monica 老师，我们下次再见。
好的，谢谢，
拜拜。
拜拜。
好，非常感谢 Monica 老师为我们带来的精彩分享。那么接下来呢，我们邀请到的第2所大学的招生官老师就要来了，他是来自 Singapore University of Social Sciences 新加坡新月社科大学的杜老师。Let's welcome 杜老师。Hello， 杜老师你好。
嗨，你好，大家好，我是来自新加坡新月社科大学招生部的杜老师。因为时间有限，然后我会主要是以英语来解说，可是不用担心，在我们的 PP 上这个关键词汇会标上一些中文的一些词汇，所以我会就是掺杂英文和华文来帮忙解说。来，下一页，谢谢。Okay, so essentially when you are looking at choosing a university studies outside of Singapore, outside of China after your high school or Gaokao, I think it's very important for you to ensure that, proximity is one of the consideration, perhaps not for you, but for your parents, because you like to, have ease in making travel arrangements back home during the summer or winter break. And of course, Singapore is, very centrally located in Southeast Asia. We have a multiracial population, which is made out of Chinese, Malay, Indian, and Eurasian. You definitely not face much language barrier in Singapore, as we are largely bilingual, very proficient in English and our mother tongue. So I think if you can, look at the food and also the entertainment that's available, I think I would like to also emphasize that more importantly, Singapore is widely regarded as one of the safest country in the world with very low crime rates and transparent legal system. So definitely selecting, your university studies in Singapore after high school will definitely put yourself and also your parents at ease. 下一页，谢谢。So over here, this is a picture of our student population. We have part-time programs catered for working adults, 非全日制的课程. And then, of course, we have the full-time program, 全日制课程. This is really mainly for our fresh school leavers like yourself, fresh out from high school, junior college, or even polytechnics based in Singapore. And then, of course, the light grey portion for our stackable modules or courses, which allows our graduates and alumni to join back in after graduating from SUSS. 下一页. I'll share a bit more about our DNA, which is our 办学理念. Essentially, you look at the 3 H's, hate, heart, and habit. We want our students and graduates to eventually, inculcate this habit and, build up the whole notion that you are not just studying for a degree, a scroll, right? We are really building up and developing you to be very socially cautious, to have a desire to really create impact to society and to volunteer your time back to the various beneficiaries that you are going to work with, and also be a very disciplined and self-directed learner, not just focusing just in the 4 years of study, but beyond that, after graduation, the strong work ethics and values that you input into your career as well. All right, 下一页. So over here, we have the 9 full-time programs that's offered by our various schools. The ones in blue boxes are offered by Singapore School of Business. So this is 商学院的课程, accountancy, finance, marketing, supply chain management, and business analytics. Then, of course, if you're interested to work with, people, work with children, this is an area where you can actually look into to study either the social work program, human resource management, or even early childhood education. And if you are holding a permanent residence in Singapore, you can actually consider to take on the public safety and security program as well. So all 9 programs over here, they are 4-year direct honors, right? Then of course they come with a major and minor combination, except for accountancy. So 会有主修还有副修. Then of course you do have to declare your minor from the second year of your studies in SUSS. 从大二开始的话，你就得选修你的副修的科目。下一页，谢谢。Alright, so I've shared earlier that this is a 4-year direct honors program. All students will then be required to fulfill 200 credit units, and of which most of the subjects or courses over here, they are 5 CU, or 5 credits, or 2.5 credits. And this is spent across the 4 years with us. And we do design signature programs for you to take on as well, which I'll elaborate later on. 下一页. So in SUSS, we teach very differently. It's actually a flipped classroom approach, which I will then elaborate a little bit more. 下一页，谢谢. So this is a very new concept, I would say, very different from how traditional universities will operate. So outside of class, in the dark blue section over here, you do have to prepare your learning. So remember, we talked about the habit of being self-directed learners. You do have to go through your readings, study guides, and also your chunk lectures before going into your seminar. And then, of course, there are pre-course online quiz to attempt. And of course, you do need to pass them in order to go into the seminars. And in class, where you have a lot more applied learning, you will then be involved in in-class activities. The class size is quite intimate and cozy, I would say. It's about 35 to 40 people per seminar. Then, of course, learning don't just stop at the class or seminar setting. You will have to reflect upon your learning, and it can take form in many formats. For example, your projects, individual assignments, as well as your examinations. And of course, in current climate with COVID-19 pandemic, examinations have also been evolved to become take-home exams or online exams as well. 下一页. All right, so this is the signature programs which I've talked about earlier. These are the 4 components or programs that we actually design for our students so that it can actually give them a very holistic and interdisciplinary learning experience. So essentially, throughout the 4 years, you'll be exposed to these elements of experiential team building, 就是团建的这个建设，还有there's also a 24 weeks work attachment where you are allowed to work as an international student with an organization. There are many students who will choose, different organizations to work with. So they will then break into 2 cycles of 12 weeks. Then you can actually get a bit more, exposure and experience in a different sector or industry. Then not just that, we are also developing you to really contribute back to community. So you will be required to work on a project in service learning and community engagement. And also another exposure for you is to go overseas during your summer break or winter break for you to, attend courses or even to take on overseas work attachment. That's also one of the components. And many of our students do choose to do multiple sets of items so that they will actually build up their portfolio. 下一页. All right, and of course, I think this is a very proud news that we'd like to announce. Despite COVID-19 pandemic, in the recent 2 years, we still see very strong demand for our graduates. So almost 94% of our graduates secured a job within 6 months after completing their final exams. 下一页，谢谢。All right, then of course, if you're interested to find a bit more about the graduate employment survey, I would say 100% of our early childhood students and also 97% of our social work students receive employment. So this is a very high testimony to our students and also the work that they have put in their work attachment or their field placement throughout the 4 years with us. Then of course, for the finance student, they actually receive the highest mean salary. This is a figure that you will see in Sing dollars. 下一页，谢谢。All right, then I'll talk about admissions requirement, 入学资格。下一页，谢谢。So if you are looking at applying to SUSS, if you hold other qualifications like international A levels, Excel International, high school diploma, or even 高考, you would then have to supplement with a score from either SAT or ACT. Of course, if you are taking the IB diploma in China, that's also another qualification that we'll consider. 下一页，谢谢。Okay, this is the minimum score requirement that we need for SAT and also the ACT. And of course, if you have more information that you need to check on, you can actually go onto their official website. Thank you. 下一页。All right, then of course, we have English proficiency to ensure that you are proficient in the language. So if you have qualifications which, is not conducted in English as a formal medium, then we definitely need your IELTS, which is your 雅思, PTE Academic or C1 Advanced as well. 下一页，谢谢。Then of course, shortlisted candidates will then attend a selection process, which is our 筛选过程。下一页。So essentially, our students or applicants are invited to come in and join us for a 4-stage interview process, which we'll share in the next slide. 下一页。All right, then of course, we will be sending you information on research topic where you can actually participate in a response essay and also a group discussion. So we just want to really understand how you prepare your research topic, not just in a written format, but also in a verbal format. Then of course, there's also a cognitive test to test about your logical thinking. This is MCQ. And of course, the last stage will be an individual or cluster interview, depending on which program you are shortlisted for. On top of that, we are also looking at your portfolio. So things like your CCA, volunteer work, work experience, whether it's a job shadowing or internship, these are also areas that you can actually look at to upload into your online application. 下一页。So all in all, we don't just look at your academic achievements, not just your results alone. We are also looking at your non-academic qualities and achievement. So this is a very holistic assessment of each and every applicant before we then offer you a place in this university. 下一页，谢谢。This is the application period. So we'll be starting our application for July 2022 on 19th of November all the way to next year, March. And the application fee is $30 Sing dollars. 下一页，谢谢。This is the estimated fees across the four years of studies with us. If we're looking at receiving a grant, a tuition grant by the Ministry of Education in Singapore, you will be able to enjoy subsidies and pay a lower fee compared to the peers who are opting out from the subsidy. So you will see a difference in terms of the tuition fees that's being published on the website. And of course, students who are taking the tuition grant will definitely have to serve a bond of 3 years and work in a Singapore-based company after graduation. I would say that this is a very good advantage because you will be able to secure employment after graduation and continue to work in Singapore. Of course, if you are going to opt out from the tuition grant, then you'll be paying unsubsidized fees and you are free to work any other countries after graduation. 下一页。All right, then of course, there are accommodation options outside of campus. We don't have an in-house or in-campus hostel, and these are our partners who are actually very nearly located to our campus, all right, and easily accessible through public transport. 下一页。 So this is our last slide and our contact details where you can contact us via email or just connect through the various social media platforms. And I'm happy to take on questions. 所以就邀请主播来看一下什么问题吧。
好，非常感谢杜老师精彩的分享。然后呢，我们刚刚已经有同学问到了，他说，What is the weather like？
基本上新加坡是四季都是夏天，所以非常炎热，你都可以穿得很清凉上学。只不过就是室内的那个空调会稍微比较冷一些，就得多加一件外套上课。对。
好，然后我们还有同学问到，校外的宿舍可以包容全部的学生吗？他可能想，您说。
It's okay， 就是基本上校外的宿舍就是由学生自由的去
选择
筛选，对，然后会有很多种，或者是你不要看这些选项的话，你也是可以跟朋友们一起去租一套就是房子，不用一定要设定在这些校外的宿舍。
然后他说，他后续又问到，如果说他要想住到校外，他需要跟学校去申请吗？
不需要。这已经是大学了，所以蛮有自由性的。
OK， 然后我们下一个问题是学生可以在学校找实习或者是找工作的阶段，我们学校会提供一些怎样的帮助？
基本上跟之前的大学是蛮类似的，就是说会有个 career center，它会分配一些 specialist， 就是一个 mentor 来帮忙照顾，就是教你怎么写你的简历啊，然后会有 mock interviews， 因为你去面试的话，不可能就是说没有经过训练就去面试，他会帮你就是give you some training in terms of that area and mock interviews。然后基本上还会有一些校外还有校内的一些机会给你来就是做你的 internship 或者是你的 job during vacation。
OK， 好的，也非常谢谢杜老师给我们带来精彩分享和解答。也是因为时间的关系呢，我们可能在这里头就要告一段落了。然后同学们感兴趣的话，也可以下载我们的 PPT， 然后和杜老师取得更多的联系。好了，非常谢谢老师，老师再见，我们下次再见。
好的，再见，拜拜。
好，非常感谢我们杜老师为我们带来的精彩分享。那么接下来我们要邀请到今天第3所学校的招生官老师上台，他是来自 Portland State University 的 Matthew 老师。Let's welcome Matthew. Hi, Matthew.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
Okay, you can just go for it.
Yeah, well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on your Saturday night. I really appreciate it. My name is Matthew Pipert. I'm the Assistant Director for International Recruitment at Portland State University. Thank you for listening to me in English. I'm going to speak to you today about my school. And could I get the next slide, please? I'm going to give you just a minute to scan our QR code so that you can take a look at our international student brochure for later. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, so if you don't know anything about Portland State University, we are located in Portland, Oregon, which is on the west coast of the United States. We are the biggest city in the state of Oregon, kind of between Seattle and San Francisco. And I think we're famous in China for the NBA Trailblazers, maybe, or we're also the home of Nike and Intel. So we're a large public research university. We have about 26,000 students. We have students from all 50 U.S. states. We have students from about 89 different countries, so it's a very global, diverse population. We have about 300 Chinese students, and we have been serving international students for a long time now, so we have really great support system for you here. And I think we have about 1,500 international students at Portland State University. Okay, next slide, please. So we are a city school. So I know many of you are from big cities, and it might be kind of shocking to go to a small college town in the United States or somewhere else. So if you're looking for the small college town, this is not us. We are a city school. We're in the middle of downtown Portland. We are about 50 blocks of downtown Portland, but we're also a very pretty school. There are a lot of really nice buildings and beautiful trees, and we do have a park in the middle of our campus. If you want to live on campus, that's okay. We have 10 residence halls to choose from. And we also have a great student life on campus. So especially since the fall, we have all returned to in-person learning. So all of our students are back on campus. It's really great to see everybody's face in person again. We have about 200 student clubs and organizations, and we're also a Division I athletics team. So if you are a talented student athlete, you can contact us for scholarships. Okay, let's move to the next slide, please. So another nice thing about being in Portland is that the economy here is quite strong, and we have a lot of huge multinationals that call Portland home. So I mentioned that Nike is located here, Intel is located here, Daimler Trucks, Columbia Sportswear. We also are very, very close to Seattle. Seattle is just a short car drive away or train ride. And a lot of Seattle-based companies hire our graduates as well, like Amazon, Microsoft, Boeing. And one fun fact is 1 year after graduation, the average PSU graduate is earning about 50,000 US dollars per year. Okay, I'll move on to the next slide, please. Yeah, so another nice thing about being a large university is that we offer almost any major. So there are too many to talk about. We have more than 200 degree programs, but some of our strongest majors are in our School of Business. So if you're thinking about studying accounting, marketing, supply and logistics management, leadership, finance, we're a really great school to study that. We also offer a wonderful College of Engineering and Computer Science. So if you want to study engineering, we offer mechanical, civil, environmental, computer, electrical engineering. And for any graphic design students out there, we have one of the best graphic design programs in all of the United States. But that's not all. So please do explore our majors. We have so many great programs for you to choose from. And I'll move to the next slide, please. Yeah, so we make things really easy for you to apply to PSU. You can apply all year round, and we're really only looking at your high school grades. That's all. So we make it super simple. There's no mystery. It's completely transparent. Basically, if you have in China, if you have an 80%, if you have an 80% on the national curriculum, you will be admitted. That's it. We do not require SAT scores. We do not require ACT scores. We do not require personal statements or letters of recommendation, although you're welcome to submit those. So really, we're looking at your high school performance. That's all. Of course, you need to have English proficiency to maybe understand me tonight and also to attend Portland State University. But you'll see that we have we accept TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo English Test, and PTE. You can see the scores there for you. If you do not have English proficiency scores, it's okay. You can still apply to PSU. We can still admit you academically. And if you don't have the scores, we will place you in our intensive English language program, pathway program. So again, if you don't have English test scores or you don't meet the minimum, you can still apply. You can study English at PSU, and also while you are studying English, you can start taking PSU classes at the same time. If you are studying IB or British curriculums, AS levels, or doing AP subject tests, this is a great way for you to earn credit before you arrive at PSU. I'm going to move to the next slide, please. Yeah, so I mentioned about the Pathway program. Most students take the Pathway for 6 months to 9 months. And again, this is a great chance for you to improve your English and also start taking PSU classes and earning credits toward your degree. All of the credits you earn in our Pathway program go toward your degree, so you're not wasting time by taking the Pathway program. Next slide, please. About cost of attendance, tuition starts at about $22,000 per year, and you can see the total estimated cost for 1 year is about $43,000 US. This is including everything: tuition, fees, health insurance, books, food, transportation, living expenses, everything, about $43,000. Next slide, please. And the good news is that we do have scholarships. So the most common one is called the International Achievement Scholarship. This is based on your grades, and it can be up to $10,000 per year. And there's no separate application and no special deadline. If you apply to PSU and if you are admitted, we will consider you for this scholarship. We also have a wonderful honors college at PSU. If you're a super achieving student and you want that extra level of rigor, then you should consider our honors college. It's open to all majors. And for the honors college, they have their own scholarship that's about $3,000 US. Okay, so next slide, please. Yes, so our admission process is, again, super simple. We're on rolling admissions. That means you can apply all year round. We are on a quarter-based academic year, so we have fall term, winter term, spring term, and summer term. We usually encourage international students to start in winter, spring, or fall. So you can see the start dates of our terms. It's never too late to apply to PSU. So please do apply anytime. And if it's just too late for you to come to the US in time, or if something happens at home and you need to start later, that's okay. We can move your application up to 1 year into the future with no penalty. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is just the start of our conversation. So please do contact us at intladm@pdx.edu. I think that we have a really nice translated page on the Sunrise site, so please check that out. That's another way to get information about us and to contact us. You can follow us on social media, and I would love to keep in touch with you later on. So thank you so much, and I think I'll go to the last slide, which...
Yeah, thank you to Matthew.
Yes.
Thank you to bring up this awesome sharing. And so now we can jump right into the Q&A session. And we do prepare some few questions, and those questions are like most students want to ask. So I just pick one, and we can wait for other students ask something else, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, so the first question is, can students double major? And if it's yes, do the majors have to be related?
The answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's helpful if the majors are related if you want to graduate within 4 years. So if you're going to double major, we really recommend talking to your advisor as soon as possible, your academic advisor, and working on a plan to make sure you graduate in 4 years. The more common thing is a major and a minor combination. So the major is your primary field of study. The minor is your secondary field of study. So a lot of students will do that. They'll major in I don't know, computer science, and then minor in Spanish language, for example, something like that. That's very common. And but the thing about minors is they're optional. So some students choose a minor and some don't. It's totally up to you.
All right, cool. Okay, so one student asked, like, is the campus safe because of the COVID-19 and the students still worry about this?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So we have a few things. One is that we have a vaccine mandate. So every student, staff, and faculty on the Portland State campus must be vaccinated in order to work or study there. We're also a COVID vaccination center, and we're a COVID testing center. So students can get tested or get vaccinated on campus in the Student Health Center. And we have a lot of other measures like mandatory masks on campus. We have completely rearranged the physical spaces on campus to make them safer. And we also are offering a variety of class modalities. For example, we do have in-person classes. We also have hybrid classes and virtual classes.
All right, cool. So last question, and a student asked how to find a major that suits me the best if it's still don't really know what I want to study.
That's a great question. And one nice thing about studying in the United States is that you do not need to know your major when you're 17 or 18 years old. You don't need to know what you're going to do the rest of your life when you're just coming out of high school. It's okay. You can spend 1 or even 2 years exploring and trying to figure out what you're most interested in. You're not wasting your time in your year 1 and 2. You're taking classes that will help you graduate anyway. And we have a really nice university career center that has lots of sort of self-evaluations and tests that you can take to learn what you're most interested in, and they have actual human beings who can talk to you in depth about what you're interested in studying. But if you feel pressure, you can start as an exploratory student. That means you're not choosing a major at the beginning, and then you can choose a major within your first or second year.
All right, great. Thank you for your awesome sharing, and that will be all for your session today, and we hope to see you next time. Have a nice day.
Okay, thank you, Sunrise, and have a great night, everybody. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Okay, bye. 好，非常感谢我们的 Matthew 老师给我们带来的精彩的分享。那么接下来呢，我们要邀请到最后一所大学的招生官老师上台，他是来自 Arizona State University 的 Daniel 老师。Let's welcome Daniel. Hi, Daniel.
Hi, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm good. You can just go for it.
Yeah, can you hear me and see me okay? Everything working all right?
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. And you're going to be launching the PowerPoint, right?
Yep. And you just tell me next page. I will do it.
Sounds good. Awesome. Thank you so much. This is the last one for you, right?
No, this is the first one, and this is the next page. So you want to do this?
Oh no, I meant the I'm the last university, right?
Oh yeah, you are.
所以很快就可以下班了。
Oh, you Chinese are awesome.
一般。Oh, so I can. Oh, I guess yeah. It's
okay, I will just go.
I can start with this one. Yeah.
No, it's all right.
Cool.
Okay, you can just go for it. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ready to start? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are we live?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Hi, everyone. Good evening. And my name is Daniel Gerbach. I am the Executive Liaison for International Programs and Partnerships at Admission Services with Arizona State University. So I know I'm the last presenter today, so I'm really happy to be joining this session. And hopefully I will spend the next 15 minutes or so to give you a quick overview of what makes ASU a little bit different and what makes us, I think, stand out from many of the other institutions that you might be looking at, both in the US and perhaps other places as well. All right, so with that, I'll get started, and I'll try to be brief and leave some time towards the end for questions. Hopefully we'll have at least a couple of minutes. So if I could get the next slide, please. So Arizona State University, we are actually the largest public university in the United States, depending on how you count the total number of students, but we have over 80,000 students spread across several campuses, right? So one of the things that I think makes us unique is kind of the mission of the university, which is really portrayed in this charter statement. And so Arizona State University is very much about providing access to education, right? So our focus and the way that we measure our success, we don't really focus so much on how exclusive we are or how difficult we make it for students to apply or to be accepted, right? Rather, what we focus on is really the outcomes of our students, right? So the success that they have after they graduate from ASU, after they start their careers, or they get into graduate school, whatever it is that they want to do, or they start their own company, we consider that to be kind of the more important metric of our success, right? So that's why you'll kind of see that ASU is very different in terms of its philosophy and in terms of the types of students, very diverse types of students that we welcome to our campuses. And I could go to the next slide after that. It's a bit slow. Yeah, so we have some rankings on this slide. So I know that a lot of Chinese students, not only Chinese students, right, American students as well, but especially in Asia, I think rankings are always looked at by parents. And we do have a lot of rankings as a comprehensive research university. We have some really outstanding rankings for our business program, for our engineering program. Just to give you one example, right, we have one major in our College of Business, which is number 2 in the country, that's supply chain management. There's also quite a few that are top 10, top 15. But I think what a lot of students don't realize is that we also have an excellent School of Art and Design. We have a School of Education that is really well known, School of Journalism as well that is really has an outstanding reputation as well. So when you see ASU, right, you may only hear about us because of business or engineering, kind of those big majors that a lot of students look at. But keep in mind that we are a comprehensive school with all kinds of different rankings, all kinds of options. And one other ranking you'll see on this page is that we are number 1 in innovation. We've actually gotten that ranking consistently for 7 years. So every year we've been getting the same distinction as number 1 for innovation. And there's a lot of examples of innovation on campus, whether it's research, right, whether it's the companies that our students start, or the things that we try to introduce into our learning experience. So one quick example is we are actually just this year we started working with a virtual reality company. So for a lot of our classes that are going to be in the sciences, things like biology or chemistry, you're actually going to be able to use virtual reality technology to enhance your learning, right? And we plan to expand that to a lot of our other courses as well. So just one quick example, but there's many more, and I'll share those on the next slides. Thank you. Yep. Is it loading?
Yeah, it's loading.
Oh, there we go. All right, cool. So some more rankings on this slide as well. We love rankings. But you'll see that ASU is pretty well recognized, whether you look at U.S. News and World Report. I would encourage you also to explore other rankings as well, right? Because every different rank or every ranking company, they will measure different things. So some rankings will focus more on research. Other rankings will focus more on outcomes, right? The average starting salary of graduates and things like that. So take a look at different places. That will give you a much better picture, I think, of ASU overall. But as I mentioned, we are a large university with a lot of students. Out of those 80,000+ students, we actually have this year close to 12,000 international students, right? So ASU is very diverse. And I think as a student coming from China, you will feel very welcome on our campus, pretty much starting, even before you come to campus. Our Chinese Student Association is very active on campus. We actually have 2 clubs, Chinese student clubs. One is a bit more official, right? They're kind of connected with the embassy, and then we have another one called Fun, right? Which is kind of focused on fun, I guess, mostly. But in addition to the Chinese students that we have on our campus, of course, we have students from 130 other countries and a lot of American students. So it's a very welcoming environment. I think you will feel very much at home, pretty much starting your first day. And I think that's a big advantage, because of our location, because of the emphasis on diversity, you will feel very much just like you would feel at home, with a few minor differences. So let's move on to the next slide, and I'll continue talking about our location, which is in Arizona, as hopefully you were able to figure out already. But if you haven't visited this part of the country, right, or if you've never been to the US at all, this will give you a pretty good idea of where we are. So on this slide, you'll see Phoenix marked in red with a little airplane logo. So that is actually where the airport is. That is where Phoenix is, and that is where the majority of our campuses are. So our four major campuses, they're all in the Phoenix metropolitan area. The great thing about Phoenix is that it's the 5th largest city in the US, right? A lot of students don't know that. You've probably heard of LA, San Francisco, Chicago, New York, what else? Boston, right? But Phoenix is actually a pretty large city by US standards, right? If you look at China, we're probably like, a third tier city in China or something like that, with only about 4.6 million people. But it is a large enough city that you have all the amenities that you'd expect. We have our own basketball team, NBA team. We have our own professional baseball team, American football, right? There's concerts, music, all of that stuff. And it's very easy to get to our campus. You basically fly to Phoenix, usually have one connection from LA or San Francisco, and you're there. So let's go on to the next slide because we don't have a lot of time left. I'll try to be as quick as possible. All right, so these are the four campuses that we have. The main thing to keep in mind is we really want you to have a choice as a student, right? We don't believe in one size fits all. We want each student to find the environment that is right for them, for their learning style, for their personality. So we have large campuses and we have smaller campuses. So it's really going to be up to you which one you want to pick. It's also going to depend a little bit based on the major that you're looking for, right? And let's go on to the next slide. We have here. All right, so these are kind of all the colleges that we have. Again, we're a large university, comprehensive, right? So there's pretty much everything you can think of, which again gives you a lot of flexibility. You can easily combine disciplines. You can, as you figure out your path, your first year, your second year, if you have no idea what you want to study, right? A school like ASU gives you plenty of options. So, there's no way to go wrong. And we have some really excellent majors that unfortunately I don't have too much time to cover. So let's go on to the next slide. See what else we have here. All right, we also have an honors college, which is actually something that I would encourage all of you to look into especially if you're applying to ASU. This is an excellent program that will give you additional benefits as a student at ASU. It is a bit tougher to get in, but again, you'll have lots of other opportunities for faculty interactions, for research, for study abroad, scholarships, and certain honors classes that only those students can take. All right, and let's keep going to the next slide. Thank you. All right, so again, the other thing about ASU that's unique is the diversity of the clubs that we have because of the wonderful students that we have, right? There's over 1,000 different clubs and organizations. I already mentioned a couple of them in terms of our Chinese student organizations, but we also have plenty of others, whether it's, photography club, investment club, gaming club, pretty much anything you can think of, outdoors, you're gonna struggle to really find enough time for all of this at ASU. And let's keep going since we only have just a minute left. What's next? All right, so these are some of the examples of the clubs. So I'll skip over that. I'll be happy to answer questions if we have time. And let's go on to the next one, see what we have. All right, so we also have a lot of resources dedicated to your success. Your first year Success Center is a center where coaches will work with you one-on-one on all kinds of skills that you may need help with. And again, let's just keep going. Feel free to give me just 10 seconds per slide, 5 seconds. All right, so I think let's stop here on this slide just because this gives you a really good overview of the outcomes that our students have, right? In terms of the employment that they gain, the types of companies they work for. Keep in mind that ASU is a large alumni network with over 500,000 people all over the world, right? So it's very easy to get connected. All right. So I guess I'm out of time. And can I still keep going, or should we do Q&A?
Yeah,
or what's...
you can just keep going, but we maybe
All right.
we will cut the Q&A session. It's up to you.
Perfect.
If you want to answer the student's question first.
Yeah, maybe I'll just do like 1 more minute. So just to wrap up, right? I know I've been going very fast, and we just have too many slides for this time of 15 minutes. But I just wanted to emphasize again that ASU is a place that very much focuses on ensuring the success of our students, right? Whether that's in terms of the services that we provide, right? In terms of how welcoming we make our students feel on our campus, especially our international students. We consider that to be our main job, right? Our main mission is to make our students master learners, right? So that in the future they can apply those skills and knowledge to actually change careers, right? To learn new skills if they need to. We don't believe in just teaching you, giving you knowledge in a piece of paper, right? We want to make sure that you're successful in the future. And I think we have a really good track record of doing that. So in terms of the application, we make it as straightforward as possible. You can use Common App, you can use Coalition, and we have our own online app. We basically look at your transcripts, so your GPA, right, your grades in high school, and your English proficiency. We do not require SAT scores or ACT scores, and the rest of our application is really, I think, very, very straightforward. So I'll be happy to answer any questions about that as well. And yeah, so we're rolling admissions, so you can apply all the way until May 1st for fall of next year. All right, so I'll stop here and let's check out what were some of the questions.
All right, sorry, the time is pretty rush, but
it's okay. Yeah, I think we sent you a very long PowerPoint, so.
But it's all right. Students can download the PPT, and if they want to know more, and they can just contact you straightly.
Absolutely, please do, and I'll leave my email in the chat as well. So I would be happy to answer emails or WeChat as well. I have WeChat, so. But what are some of the questions? So we have.
They have like.
We
can just jump right into the Q&A session now. And so the first question is, if students want to rent a house in there, and the will cost a lot of money.
Yeah, 老师太有激情了.
Yeah.
It's because of the time. So yeah, yes. So we have, as I mentioned, Phoenix is a pretty large city, right? So you have on our biggest campus, which is called Tempe, right? Tampei, Xiaoqu. And keep in mind, not Tampa, Florida, but Tempe, Arizona. So Tempe, there's a lot of apartment units that are very new, very modern, very close to campus. So you'll have plenty of choices if you want to rent an apartment off campus. And a lot of our international students do that. The first year, though, we require our students to live on campus, right? So the first year, you would live on campus, and then second year, you'd be free to move out if you wanted to.
All right, cool.
And it is very affordable, compared to, I think, a lot of the bigger cities in the U.S., like LA, right, or San Francisco, New York. Phoenix is a lot more affordable. We're not the cheapest in the U.S., but also compared to those big cities, it's definitely a lot more affordable.
Awesome. Next question is, in our school, do we offer like scholarship, especially for international students?
Great question. Yeah, thank you for reminding me to mention that, because I don't think I covered scholarships. So we actually consider every applicant for a scholarship automatically. So if you're applying to ASU and all you have to do is just complete the application, send us your grades, send us your TOEFL or IELTS or whatever, right? And you will be considered for a scholarship automatically. The maximum amount that is awarded is usually up to $15,000, and that is renewable every year, right? So if you got it the first year, as long as you maintain a B average, right, a 3.0, you will continue to get that scholarship your second year and your third year and fourth year. In addition to that, we do also have other scholarships that we offer. So, for example, business students, we actually have one scholarship that is a full tuition scholarship for specifically for Chinese students studying business, right? So if you're applying for business, you could definitely look into that scholarship. It is only given to one student per year, so it is pretty competitive, but a lot of students don't know about it. So there you go. I just told you about it. So definitely there's opportunities to get scholarship. And the first one that I mentioned is usually very, a lot of our applicants get it because pretty much if you have slightly above a 3.2 GPA, you will get an award.
All right, great. Okay, so last question I want to ask, one student want to know, in our campus, do we have a lot of international students or do we have a lot of Chinese students?
Yeah, that's great. I think I mentioned it briefly, but I was going so quickly. So we do have a lot of international Chinese students. Not the most, out of all the universities in the U.S., but I think for a public university, we have about 13% to 15% of our student body is international. Definitely the biggest countries for us are China, India. We have a lot of Middle Eastern students from Saudi Arabia, Oman, etc. But there's also Latin American students, right? There's a lot of students from Latin America, from other parts of Asia, right? Places like Vietnam and Korea and Japan and so on. So it is very diverse. I think that's part of what makes ASU so welcoming is that you see students in different types of clothing, completely from different backgrounds. Not only culturally but also financially and socially, right? From very different backgrounds. And it's I think a strength that you will have having those friendships and interactions with students from very different backgrounds, different mindsets, right? Different beliefs. It makes your social skills that much stronger.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so Daniel, that will be all for your session today, and thank you so much. And we hope see you next again. And students can download the PPT. And you did you leave your email there?
Yes, I was just doing that. Sorry, I forgot.
It's all right.
So this is the email. Hopefully, students can see it. Did it go? It's like hidden. I guess I can't send. All right. Well, I shared my WeChat, so that is the WeChat account.
All right. So
I don't know
this one is your WeChat ID, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know why the email didn't seem to go through. So let me try this quickly. Just 1 second. Yeah, that works, right? So just replace the @ with Salaoshu, and that's my email.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a nice day. See you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening. All right. Bye-bye. And let me know if you have questions. Please email or contact me on WeChat.
Okay, definitely. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
好，非常感谢我们丹尼尔老师给我们带来今天最后一所学校的精彩的分享。然后也是因为时间的关系呢，我们没有办法和每一位招生官老师都进行这个更多的这个交流啊。我们非常欢迎我们同学们去下载我们每位老师的 PPT， 或者是添加我们老师的联系方式，进行更深一步的咨询。最后非常感谢大家今天晚上的到来，也希望同学们可以继续关注我们后续更多的云展活动。好了，今天的活动到这里就要和大家说再见了，让我们下次再见，大家晚安。